Have you ever loved someone so much and still walked away? 10 years later, two people who never truly moved on cross paths again, on a flight to Seoul. Here's their story. Back in 2008, Yoon-ho is waiting at a bus terminal in Seoul when he notices a pretty girl smoking quietly. Her name is Jong-won. Without thinking too much, he sketches her face. Then he gets on the bus and realizes she's sitting right next to him. Yoon-ho tries to act normal, but he's clearly flustered. Halfway through the ride, the bus suddenly stops because of a landslide ahead. People jolt forward and Yoon-ho falls to the floor. In the chaos, Jong-won spots the sketch of her in his notebook. Yoon-ho panics, but she just smiles and even compliments his drawings. Then the driver says the road is blocked. They can either wait or find another way to continue. While waiting, Jong-won asks Yoon-ho if she can keep the drawing. Shortly after, Yoon-ho's dad arrives to pick him up. Seeing Jong-won stranded, he asks his dad to drop her at the nearest terminal. But instead, he invites her to his restaurant for lunch. Later, Jong-won learns that Yoon-ho's mother passed away when he was young, and that she was the one who taught him to draw. After lunch, Yoon-ho takes her to her destination on his bike. Jong-won goes to the orphanage where she grew up, but when she arrives, she finds out the principal has already gone home. She turns to leave, trying not to look disappointed. Yoon-ho notices and circles back to pick her up again. This time, Jong-won tells him she wants to ride, and the two of them take a long scenic ride by the sea. They sit by the beach and open up about their lives and their dreams. Jong-won says her dream is simple. She wants a place she can call home. Yoon-ho tells her his dream is to create games. As the sun starts to set, Jong-won closes her eyes and makes a wish. Yoon-ho watches, quietly hoping it comes true. Now back in the present, their flight is delayed because of an incoming typhoon. The airline offers passengers free hotel rooms, but Yoon-ho gets the last room available. Jong-won has nowhere else to go, so they share a room for the night. Yoon-ho is now working at a successful software company, and Jong-won is an architect. And as the night goes on, they start reminiscing about that first day and everything that happened after. After that first meeting in 2008, Yoon-ho couldn't forget her. He searches for her through online gaming communities until he finally tracks down where she works, a small petrol kiosk. Later, they end up attending the same college, but their lives are completely different. Jong-won works endless part-time jobs just to pay rent and survive in Seoul. Yoon-ho studies hard, chasing his goal of becoming a game developer. But to stay close to her, he takes a job at the same petrol kiosk too. One night, everyone shares about their dreams for the future. Everyone else talks about money and status, but Jong-won only wants stability and a place she can call home. Yoon-ho is different. He's focused on one thing, making games and getting good enough to live off it. Then comes the night. Their group goes out for an event. A senior Min-jae keeps hovering around Jong-won, clearly interested. Yoon-ho watches Min-jae flirt with Jong-won and tries to act unbothered, but deep down, he is clearly annoyed. Later, the senior gets drunk, and Yoon-ho carries him back to Jong-won's tiny rental place. Yoon-ho doesn't want to leave Jong-won alone with him, so he claims he's tired and stays behind. Later, Min-jae asks Jong-won out on a date. Yoon-ho tries to act normal, but it clearly bothers him. Still, he has no right to stop it. But a few weeks later, Jong-won breaks up with Min-jae and goes straight to Yoon-ho's place. She tells him she met Min-jae's mother, and his mom looked down on her for being an orphan. It makes Jong-won feel small all over again. Yoon-ho comforts her, and simply tells her she can stay at his place for as long as she wants. Not long after, a pretty girl from the building knocks on Yoon-ho's door and asks him to help with her laptop. When she sees Jong-won inside, she casually asks if Jong-won is his girlfriend. Jong-won says they're just childhood friends, but she can't hide her jealousy. That night, Yoon-ho takes the floor and lets Jong-won sleep on the bed, but both of them are nervous as it is their first night together. In the middle of the night, Yoon-ho goes to the bathroom. Without thinking, he walks back and lies down on the bed. Jong-won instinctively wraps her arms around him. Yoon-ho freezes. A second later, he quietly slips away and returns to the floor. Weeks pass, and living together becomes routine. They eat together, clean the place, and even work the same shifts at the petrol station. Little by little, they begin depending on each other. Then Min-jae shows up at the petrol station. He hands Jong-won a necklace and asks her to take him back. That night, Jong-won sits with the necklace in her hand and asks Yoon-ho what she should do. Yoon-ho tells her to throw it away. Jong-won studies his face and asks if he's jealous. Yoon-ho panics, and instead of admitting anything, he blurts out the worst possible answer. He says she isn't his type. One day, Yoon-ho sees Jong-won out with Min-jae again. He tries not to react, but it annoys him more than he expects. Soon, it's the last day of the year. Their friend group plans to spend it together, and Jong-won comes alone as she says Min-jae has to work late. After everyone parts ways, Jong-won and Yoon-ho walk through the crowd and stop in front of a giant screen that shows random people on camera. Then the screen catches Min-jae. He's hugging another girl. Jong-won turns to look at him, but instead of explaining, he walks away. That night, Yoon-ho stays with her while she drinks. He doesn't lecture her or ask questions. He just drinks with her and tells her the next year will be better, and that she deserves to be happy. Then Jong-won suddenly leans in and kisses him, and that night, they end up sleeping together. But the next morning when En-ho wakes up, Jong-won is gone. He calls her again and again, terrified something happened. When she finally answers, her voice is cold. She tells him she found another place to stay. Then she says she wants them to stay friends. Later, Jong-won goes back to the orphanage, only to find it permanently closed. She has nowhere to go that feels like home, so she ends up stopping by Yoon-ho's father's restaurant. Yoon-ho's dad is happy to see her. She lies and says she came alone because Yoon-ho is busy working on his game. He even packs her a bag full of side dishes to take home, like she's still family. At the same time, Yoon-ho goes to his father's shop and sees Jong-won there. Afterward, he finally asks her why she left without a word. Jong-won tells him the truth. She's scared because Yoon-ho is the closest thing she has to family. If they become a couple and it fails, she loses him too. Yoon-ho listens. Then he steps closer, kisses her and tells her he'll be good to her, if she is willing to give him a chance. From then on, Yoon-ho and Jong-won officially become a couple. They spend as much time as they can together. They go on simple dates, try new things, and even enjoy ordinary routines like cooking, cleaning and walking home side by side. At one point they even talk about the future, how many kids they might want someday. But Jong-won still feels unsure. She's happy, but she's also scared of depending too much on him. Yoon-ho keeps reassuring her. He tells her he'll be there, no matter what. Soon, real life catches up. Jong-won starts preparing for her architecture exam. Yoon-ho starts pitching his game ideas to developers, but the meetings don't go well. He gets rejected again and again, and he tries to brush it away, but deep down it hurts. Then one day, Yoon-ho's father suddenly collapses. At the hospital, they learn his father has diabetes, and his eyesight is getting worse because of cataracts. He can't run the restaurant anymore. Yoon-ho realizes he can't keep chasing an unstable dream as he needs to support his dad, so he makes a hard choice. He gives up his gaming dreams and takes a full-time job. Jong-won offers to work part-time to help with bills, but Yoon-ho refuses. He tells her to focus on her exam and her future, but Jong-won tells him that she wants to share the responsibilities with him. Eventually, Yoon-ho starts working full-time. Jong-won keeps studying while taking on part-time jobs. Meanwhile, Yoon-ho's father slowly recovers, but the pressure doesn't disappear. Their schedules get heavier, and their time together gets lesser. They still care about each other, but now they're always exhausted. Then one night, Yoon-ho notices a message on Jong-won's phone. It's from Min-jae, about an architecture internship opportunity. Yoon-ho doesn't say much, but the thought sticks in his chest, that maybe he's holding her back. The next night, Yoon-ho gets a call from their landlady that the rent is increasing. Yoon-ho feels stressed. Jong-won tries to calm him down, and tells him she can live anywhere as long as she's with him. In the end, they move into a smaller unit, but the stress follows them. Arguments start happening more often, over money, over small things that used to be easy. At work, Yoon-ho is also struggling. His boss even hits him when he makes a mistake, and Yoon-ho swallows the anger because he needs the job. Slowly, he becomes colder towards her. Later, they visit Yoon-ho's father at the restaurant. At the restaurant, Yoon-ho's father asks if they're planning to marry soon. Yoon-ho tenses up. They're barely getting by, and marriage feels out of reach. His father notices the tension and goes back to the kitchen. While carrying a pot of soup, he slips and drops it. Yoon-ho snaps and yells that he should stop running the restaurant if he keeps getting hurt. That night, Jong-won sees how far Yoon-ho has fallen into pressure. She tells him to quit this job and go back to making games, because that's the only time she sees him truly alive. Yoon-ho answers with one question: who's going to pay the bills? Then he turns the conversation on her. He tells her she shouldn't ruin her future because of him. He tells her to take the internship offer from Min-jae. Jung-won freezes. To her it sounds like Eun-ho doesn't trust her and thinks that she is still in contact with Min-jae. Eun-ho realizes he went too far and apologizes, but Jung-won is deeply disappointed. After all this time she thought he knew her better than that. After that argument, Eun-ho quits his job and starts looking for something better. He applies everywhere but nothing works out. In the end, he takes a job at a convenience store. One night, Eun-ho shows Jung-won the game storyboard he is working on, about two people in love. Jung-won asks what happens if the girl leaves. Eun-ho says his world would lose its color and turn black and white. Back in the present, Jung-won learns that Eun-ho is married and has a daughter. When his daughter calls, Jung-won steps aside and hides for a moment, so the child doesn't see her. Standing there quietly, Jung-won suddenly feels out of place once again, so she slips away without a word. When Eun-ho realizes she's gone, he panics and runs after her. He searches until he finds her sitting alone by the river. When he finally finds her, Eun-ho sits down beside her and asks the question he's kept buried for years: why did they break up? And that takes us back to the moment everything started falling apart. One day at the convenience store, Eun-ho and Jung-won run into their old friends, and they end up hanging out at someone's place. Everyone is doing well now. Stable jobs, nice clothes, even their own homes. Eun-ho smiles and jokes along, but inside he feels embarrassed. Afterward, Eun-ho continues drinking with Jung-won. He tells her not to wear her work uniform outside because it is embarrassing. Jung-won doesn't say anything even though the comment stings. Then Jung-won tells him that he should continue making games and that she still believes in him. But Eun-ho shuts it down right away. He tells her not to say things like that, like she's only saying it to make him feel better. Later that night, a stranger bumps into Eun-ho. He suddenly snaps and starts a fight. Jung-won is stunned. This isn't the Eun-ho she knows. She pulls him away, slaps him, and tells him that if he needs to vent, he should vent it on her. After that, Eun-ho starts changing more and more. He starts staying up late, smoking, and losing himself in games. At home, he becomes withdrawn as though he has given up on himself. Even when Jung-won is right beside him, he feels far away. In the end, she decides to leave. Not because she stopped loving him, but because she thinks they're pulling each other down. When Eun-ho realizes she has left, he panics and runs out into the downpour to look for her, and eventually spots Jung-won already on the train. Eun-ho stops on the platform and the two lock eyes, just separated by one door. But Eun-ho can't bring himself to stop her, and he watches her go. Back by the river, Jung-won tells him there's no point digging up the past. They've both moved on and their lives are better now, but Eun-ho continues. He asks what if they never moved into that basement apartment? What if she never left his side? What if they got married instead? Jung-won says even if they had gotten married, they still wouldn't have been happy. And even if she stayed that day, the ending would have been the same. Eun-ho pauses, then asks the final question. What if he had stopped her on that train? She admits that in an ideal world, she would have stayed with him forever. But wanting to stay doesn't mean it would last. That's when they both break down, and Eun-ho admits he has regretted that day for a long time. After their breakup, Eun-ho goes back to making games. It's slow at first, but one day a developer notices his work and invests in him, and his life starts moving forward again. Jung-won also moves forward in her own way. She deletes Eun-ho's contact, not because she hates him, but because she thinks it's the only way both of them can heal. Then she takes her final exam, and she finally gets accepted into the architecture program. Even so, they both have moments where they tried reaching out to one another. Eun-ho tries to find her contact online through the gaming platform, but realizes it is already shut down. Jung-won visits Eun-ho's father's restaurant, but she's too late. The place has closed for good. In the present, they admit that they did love each other deeply back then, and Jung-won thanks Eun-ho for being her home for that period. In the end, they head back to the airport together, before going back to their separate lives. Before leaving, Eun-ho asks for her address as he wants to send her something, and then they hold each other in one final hug, knowing this is goodbye. Afterward, Jung-won receives a letter Eun-ho's father wrote for her before he passed away. In it he says he still thinks of her often. He admits he used to cook her favorite dishes out of habit, as if she might walk back in one day. He says he's sad that she and Eun-ho didn't work out, but that this is also part of life. He tells her she is precious to both him and Eun-ho, and that he will always be cheering for her wherever she goes. And that's the quiet lesson of their story. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season, but what you shared was real, and it will always stay with you.